thanks for joining us here at sportingbet.com. The Champions League knockout stages are almost here, and we decided just to have a wee chat about them. In the room with me today is Nick Watts, familiar from the podcast. How you doing, Nick?
Yeah, good to put my face to my name. To
start. Russ Wiseman, as usual. How you doing, Russ?
Good form, thanks, Chris. Excellent.
Mick Fitzgerald's everywhere in the media, isn't he? He usually talks about horse racing, but we wanted his football opinion. Mick, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good, thanks. I'm a moderate football punter, but I'd like to get better.
That's an eSports swing in town.
I do, yeah. Jeez. I think that's where I went wrong.
Someone does, eh? Right. Let's start with Milan against Tottenham. Probably Tottenham's biggest game for many a year at the San Siro on Tuesday night. Guys, any thoughts on this in terms of the first leg? What were you thinking?
Well, I think Spurs couldn't have got a better draw really in terms of the glamour ties. They've already managed to have a few of those. Obviously, been to the San Siro already. If you're talking about to qualify, then yeah, I think they've got a real chance. In the first leg, however, I'm not so sure. They're 18-5 for a reason. They've come up with a couple of big away wins so far, Chris, in the Premier League in the last few weeks. Blackburn and Sunderland among them, but we're talking about a different level here, aren't we? And my feeling is that Milan probably are good things at 13-20, to be honest.
That's a good shout, Nick. But for me, Spurs have been to the San Siro, as we said. They've scored 3 goals there. They know what they're doing. They've got the depth of the squad now that they probably didn't have a couple of years ago, and they seem to have beaten off adversity throughout the season. For me, the play here is I think Spurs are going to qualify. I think they'll do enough at the San Siro to give themselves a chance at White Hart Lane. 11-10 Spurs to qualify for me is the decent bet in this game.
Sure.
I wouldn't put you off that, but the worry is, of course, for this week is no Gareth Bale, and that is a concern. I think if they had him on the counter attack, they might just nick something, but I think Spurs to lose by a goal and win it then when they go back to White Hart Lane.
Sure, nice one. Valencia against Schalke, the next game I want to talk about. Valencia in stunning form at the moment. They haven't lost since early December, and they're way up, riding high in third place in La Liga. Schalke, on the other side of that, they're languishing in mid-table in the Bundesliga. Valencia chalked up here at 7-10. Is that the shout, Nick?
I think it is, yeah. As you say, they're in good form. They've got the likes of Roberto Soldado scoring goals. He's 6-5 to score at any time. I quite fancy that one. Schalke, funnily enough, actually one of the lowest scoring teams in the Bundesliga, despite the fact they outlaid some serious money on the likes of Raul and Huntelaar and Jefferson Farfan as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Valencia win 2-0 here, and that's 5-4. I definitely think it's another home win though.
Yeah.
I'm with Nick on this one, Chris. I have to say, both these sides won at the weekend. Valencia, excellent away win away at Atletico Madrid. That was a very good performance. Schalke, as you mentioned, they're languishing for such a big club in Bundesliga, down in the lower echelons there. They did win the weekend, but not impressive again. Rabid support for Schalke. They'll be looking to get back to their home base with something to defend, but I think Valencia will be way gone. I think the odds-on play here, I think they'll do the business.
I'm going against it. I can't help myself as a poor football punter. They've got some quality in the team, Schalke. I can see them grinding out a draw here. I think their big players will up their game for this big tie. Nice one.
Roma against Shakhtar Donetsk. Not the most attractive of Champions League tie, let's be honest, but let's talk about it. Roma, let's have an average season in Serie A. Shakhtar Donetsk dominating the Ukrainian league, but of course they're on a winter break. They haven't played competitive football since December, Nick. Is that a big hurdle against them?
I think that's going to be decisive, really. Roma actually lost their unbeaten home record in Serie A at the weekend, losing 2-0 to Napoli. But it is the only game they've lost at home, so you've got to think that on their own pitch they're a strong side. Of course, Claudio Ranieri in charge, so we could see defenders playing up front. We could see anything happening in this game, really. But definitely got to think that Roma will be good things, and at nearly even money, I think they're one of the best bets of the week, to be honest.
I just look at Shakhtar Donetsk, though, very good in qualifying, as Nick said, dominating the Ukrainian league. They made a real statement at the start of this Champions League campaign to say that we're going to really focus on this tournament, really work hard, and they're doing the business. So I think over the 2 legs, I think they've probably got enough. And as Nick said there, Roma with the first real blip in their season with that defeat against Napoli, it gives Shakhtar that chance. You're quite right, Nick. They're not playing is something that is a concern, but I think they've got so much depth and quality, the Shakhtar team. I think they can qualify. Even money over both legs, that's the bet for me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going for a Roma home win here. I think they're good things. Very difficult for a team to come off a winter break and take on a side of the quality of Roma. So Roma to win.
Sure. And the big one probably Arsenal against Barcelona on Wednesday night at the Emirates, of course, reminiscent of last year's quarter-final where Barcelona really did take Arsenal apart. Listeners to the podcast will know that Nick's a big, massive Arsenal fan. Nick, any hope for your guys in this particular tie?
Difficult to see Arsenal coming out of the tie, but I really think Barcelona are overrated in this first leg. 3-4 against Arsenal's 3-1 on their home pitch. Now, of course, Arsenal haven't had the best season on their home pitch. There's been some notable defeats against the likes of West Brom and Newcastle. But however, I still think that Arsenal can get a result here. They pulled it off last year. They got back to 2-2 from 2-0 down, haven't been torn apart for much of that game, and you've got to think they'll have learned from that game, that experience over the two legs. It's easy to forget that Gallas actually came off at half-time in that game and it was 0-0 in the first leg, and Mikel Silvestre played in the second leg when Barcelona won 4-1. So, I've got to feel more confident about the Arsenal defence this time around, even if it is the weak point. When you think you can get 19-20 for Arsenal and a double chance, nearly even money for Arsenal to get a draw or win the game, I think that's a great bet, I really do. Maybe as a fan I'm not all that confident, but as a punter I would be backing Arsenal.
Sure.
And with Arsenal as well in this game, I think the value is there with them. Barcelona drawing against Sporting Gijón at the weekend. I think Arsenal 3-1. You could make a case for backing them in the 90 minutes. I think to qualify, if 5's on Barcelona, 3-1 Arsenal, I think it does away with the chances of a side who's just laden with quality players. And there is the case to be made that over two legs Barcelona will never be beaten. But at the moment, I just think there's some vulnerability there. I think Arsenal can do it. I think the bet in the first leg at the Emirates, 3-5 over 2.5 goals. I can't imagine this game can take place without all these offensive players doing the business. I think over 2.5 goals, that's a really safe play in this one.
Yeah.
I go down with the goals. For me, I've been to see Arsenal play a few times this year. I've got real quality. Of course, Cesc Fabregas, all the rumours were about him going to Barcelona. He'll be keen to advertise his ability, and I can see it being a great game as a visual spectacle. But for me, I think the draw is the result.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's as exciting as last year's tie, which was pretty exhilarating stuff. Lads, we're right at the start of the knockout stages, so what better time to select a team to win the Champions League in May at Wembley, of course, this year. Guys, I want a selection for all three of you. Who's got to win the 2011 Champions League? Nick, we'll start with you.
Really tough to look past Barcelona, Chris, to be honest. They're 15-8 there, and for me that price is only going to shrink more and more. Much as I'd love to think that Arsenal have what it takes to beat them, I think that the Nou Camp leg will ultimately be their undoing, and therefore Barcelona will be a really short price after that game, and I'd be snapping that up right now.
Yeah.
Well, we're bookmakers here at Sporting Bet. 15-8 Barcelona. I have no interest in tipping up a price like that. I don't care what anybody says.
Sure.
Well, that's no price for me at all. I'm going to take Chelsea at 9-2. I still think there's enough strength and depth in that team to put something together over 6 or 7 games, which is all you really need to do in the Champions League. I think the league's gone from them completely, but they have got quality in the team. 9-2 for me, Chelsea.
Manchester United 7-1. I see. How can you possibly go against a side like that? They're right at the top of the English Premier League. They've won it before. They've got quality coming through. Rooney, wonder goal of the season contender. If his confidence comes back and the team starts to really perform as a unit, I think they've got to be respected at that price.
Well, interesting views there for the guys. Barcelona, Chelsea and Manchester United. Interesting that Manchester United are almost double the price of Chelsea, even though they're 4 positions higher than in the English Premier League. We'll leave it there, guys. Hope you enjoy the football over the next couple of nights, and we'll be back here at sportingbet.com with more Champions League chat over the next few weeks and months ahead. See you then.